It's time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode of the Up North Journal podcast is brought to you by
PSE Archery, Yamaha Outboards, Better the Hunt, Easy Cut, Packer Max, Deer Camp Coffee, Buck Baits, JPO Game Calls, Limwalker Game Calls, Wild Seasoning, Total Peep, Sunrise Archery, Scent Lock, and Scent Blocker.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Another week of Up North Journal podcast live on Facebook.
We are back live on Wednesday night. I tell you what, it's hot out.
Is it?
It's a little toasty.
A little toasty out there? Yeah. Well, we get it. Ooh, I got to turn my volume down.
Yep, turn your volume down. Let me get this all set up.
Get our share out of the way.
Right. Here we are. We're talking August. The deer are starting to change their coats.
Are they putting on their winter coat or their summer coat?
They're taking off their summer coat and they're putting their
fall coat on.
They're putting their fall coat on. The little 7-point in my backyard, he's kind of looking dark brownish.
He's starting to change a little bit of color.
Yep, and I'm watching his velvet. It's kind of starting to shrink.
Is it?
I'm hoping he gives me opportune time to, which I hope he should, give me time to get some pictures when he starts dropping his velvet.
Gotcha. Mark Coleman is in the house. Mark, strangely enough, the man from Indiana. We're going to be talking about your home state tonight. So
I know, right?
Cannot wait to get going with tonight's show.
Absolutely.
All
right, I think I'm good here.
If you are all set there, my friend, you let me know, and we will get rocking and rolling here.
Let's do it.
Righty, here we go. Stand by. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. I'm host Mike Adams, sitting in the warm cabin tonight with my good friend Dan DeFaw. Sitting here going to talk a little bit about something that you do during the summer with a couple of guys from down south.
Absolutely, and I tell you what, got our Deer Camp Coffee here, and you put me on the spot here. Now, I'm going to give us a little shout out.
Yep.
This cup, you said, don't break it.
This is a very special cup of mine.
Right? It's a Spot Shooter's Archery Cup.
Yep, from the late Jim Beasley. I got my hands on that cup, so it's you're the first one to drink out of that cup.
Well,
I've had that thing put
it should be retired to the cabin, and so it doesn't get broken. But yeah, I tell you what, it's it says it's 81, but I tell you what, the humidity out there right now
is blazing.
Great.
It is hot.
So, but either hey, it's August. Talk to us in 6 months when it's
cold.
Yeah, right.
But you know what? Deer season's upon the way, so let's get into it tonight and talk about some of our supporters.
Absolutely. You know what? Buckbaits.com. Get over there. It's going to be about that time. Get your orders in, and if you use the promo code UNJ20, you get 20% off your order at buckbaits.com. We're going to be at Woods and Water with them here in Southeast Michigan.
September 11th, 12th, something like that?
10, 11, 12. And that should be a great show. Hopefully the weather holds out. Be good to go. Go check out the puppy tent. All right. Get those food fall plots in. You're gonna need
food plots.
Yeah, exactly. So you're gonna need the Packer Max. Get over there to packermax.com. Talk to Lincoln Road. Give him a call. Say, hey, Lincoln, I'm gonna use the promo code UNJ25, and so you get $25 off your order when you talk to packermax.com in Lincoln over there. You know, we're getting close to September 1st. Goose season here in Michigan. JPO Game Calls. I tell you what, they got the Omni Series. We're going to have him on in a couple weeks, talk about that. And so he's also got some deer grunt tubes. Get over there, jpocalls.com.
September 15th is squirrel season. He's got squirrel calls.
He does, absolutely. UNJ10 for 10% off your order over there. Now, all this hunting and all this food that you're bagging, you're harvesting.
Don't get me going.
You got to get over there to wildseasonings.com. Use the promo code UNJ2021. Get 10% off your order. Try it on everything, from vegetables to your game and everything in between. You can try it on your popcorn.
That's right.
So, we started off the show with Deer Camp Coffee. Deer Camp Coffee Roasting Company and Outfitters. That's right, folks. We drink it. We like it. No cold brew this week.
No.
You got to make some.
I'm going to make some for next week.
Use the promo code UNJ10. Get 10% off your order at deercampcoffee.com.
And ask for the exclusive UNJ label. We have our light, medium, and dark roast available.
Yep.
So we're going to have our own label with them. Make sure you ask for it and save yourself a little bit of money. And it will help us, and it will help them as well. And that's what we're drinking here tonight. Deer Camp Coffee. Gotta love it.
It is that. And a big shout out. We're waiting. The guest that was supposed to be on tonight, we had to delay him a week because he is on daddy duty.
Mm-hmm.
He's waiting to become a new dad again, Josh Blosser. Haven't heard, so good luck to you and your wife on the new one that's coming along momentarily, I guess. So
his newest little angler added to the family.
Which makes me want to give a shout out to the rest of the Yamaha guys we've interviewed. Tomorrow's travel day for them. Next week is the tournament. He is not going because of that. Joe,
watch the head-to-head walleye tournament. I'm telling you what, guys, this stuff is action-packed. You've heard us talk about it, but these guys, they're slaying the fish, man. Where's that this week?
They're in Nebraska.
Nebraska? They got walleye in Nebraska?
Right? That's what I said.
I thought they grew corn out there.
They do. But, yeah, so good luck to those guys. We'll talk to Josh next week, and then we'll get the lowdown, what's going on with everything out there. Like Mike said, you wouldn't think of it, but when you're in that last hour, last 10 minutes, and you're trying to make the cut or win your head-to-head,
yeah.
It's kind of cool.
It is cool to watch on TV.
So
watch it on Facebook, actually. That's where it's at, Facebook Live.
Exactly. So go over there and talk to Andy Cleveland, head-to-head.fishing.com. Speaking of fishing, you were young.
Mm-hmm.
We were young. I used to roam around the backyard with flashlight, water the lawn, wait, get the night crawlers.
Yeah,
and stuff
I did
like
the
that.
same thing, man. That's how we used to get our bait.
Exactly. You know what? And you ended up. We've talked about this on the show through Indiana, through David Boggs, a group.
Backwater Legacies.
Exactly. And you met a person, and he's kind of taken it one step, well, actually a couple steps further than that.
Yeah.
So give a little backstory to that.
Well, we met a bunch of kids. We had them up to our deer camp, and they come out for a late season doe hunt. We had them up there, I think, 2 or maybe 3 years in a row. And the last group that we had up there, we met this young guy. His name is Zion, and he shot a doe on our place. And and we started talking about our hunting philosophy, the habitat stuff, and he started sharing with me about what he's doing with habitat. And back then, this was like, I want to say this was 3 years ago, 2-3 years ago. So he would have been, I'd say 14, 15, somewhere in that area. And I thought, man. I said he'd be a good fit for the Mossy Oak Pro staff for the habitat team that you and I are on.
Yep.
But he just wasn't old enough yet. So I guess he decided that he wanted to get into the outdoor industry as quickly as possible. So he decided to venture out on his own. But I'm going to go ahead and bring his mic up here and introduce him to everybody. Him and his brother, Zion and Xavier Dunaway. Hey, what's going on, guys?
Good. How are you guys?
We're roasting up here, so it's got to be hot down there in Indiana.
Oh yeah, it's hot down here. Hot and humid.
But yeah, you heard us talking about you a little bit about the backstory there. But you and I, we talked a lot about habitat and stuff. But you guys decided to go in a little bit different direction. I'm just going to throw it to you. You come up with your own bait company for fishing.
Yeah. No.
Where did that come from? How did you guys get started on the fishing side? Because I thought you were like all deer hunting, but obviously you're not.
Yeah. So about 2 years ago, they started a high school fishing team here at our local high school, and I kind of got into the soft plastics as like a hobby, and got the basic $100 package just to get started, and. Then COVID kind of hit, and we were out of school, and I was just kind of started posting pictures of what I was making, and I was talking to my buddies about it and stuff, and everybody was liking what we were doing. So told Xavier, I said, this is something that we could really kind of take off with, and maybe even start our own company doing it. And so we went through everything to get our LLC set up and make it an official business. And we've been an LLC now for just about a year. And just the amount of growth that we've had and the opportunities from everybody else in the industry and everything is just, it's amazing. Just started there, our local high school, and started fishing the local tournaments, and it really just took off.
So you've always had a love for the outdoors, but fishing as well. I mean, because like I said, you and I, we just talk exclusively about deer hunting. And,
Yeah.
And I didn't know this about you on the other side, though. But when you started talking about this, I mean, I got to imagine, like you said, COVID hit, and you're playing around, making your own stuff. And what did your parents say when you threw this idea to them?
They were kind of all for it. I mean, we've always worked, cut firewood all winter long and everything, and worked on a farm. So whenever we had a business idea, they were all for it.
Yep.
And my mom helped us get all the papers signed and everything, because the bank doesn't want to give LLC license, and the state doesn't want to give all that to minors. So
Yeah.
Okay, so
Now remember, folks, exactly what they just said. We're talking to two owners of companies that are minors.
how old are you guys?
I'm 17.
And I'm 15.
Okay.
And here we are, two young gentlemen from Indiana, started their own company, sees something down the road. Mom and dad are helping them, which is great. I give kudos to mom and dad to helping them and not, no. Hey, they did everything to get you where you needed to be. And you actually won something for this idea.
Talk a little bit about that and how that all played out.
Yeah, so actually, the guy that is in charge of our high school fishing team teaches a business course at the middle school.
Yeah.
And he had heard of the Innovate Within Business Pitch Competition, which is the largest pitch competition for high schoolers in the nation that is actually here in Indiana. And he kind of threw the idea at me and said, this is something that you should check into. And I met with him after school one day, and we kind of sat down and filled out the initial paperwork to get us registered for it. And I really didn't think anything of it, to be honest. I just, was doing it because we could do it. And then we actually got accepted and was asked to compete at the regional level, which there's 10 regions in Indiana. And then we won the regional level, which I was shocked about. And then we went on to the state competition, which had the top 10 teams in the state out of 840 something students this past year. And through that, we went through a 6-week boot camp where we got to meet with entrepreneurs, CEOs, just anybody that could help with any sort of business, marketing, anything in that. And through that, we got all these different contacts. And at the state competition, we had to do it was pretty much like a Shark Tank pitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go up there on stage, pitch our business idea, show all of our finances, our growth, and all of our customer segments, all that stuff. And we were actually lucky enough to win the finals, which allowed us $20,000 for business startup capital, $10,000 each in scholarship funds, and they flew us out to Phoenix, Arizona for 5 days to meet with some of the Phoenix is actually the fastest growing city in the country right now as far as entrepreneurs and business. So just getting to meet with all those different contacts was a great experience.
Yep.
That's awesome. And we showed a picture. We went to the report they had, that you took a picture, even you both, with the governor. So the governor was involved. How was that?
It was, I don't know, the whole thing is just,
Shocking.
yeah, it was really shocking.
Shocking,
And just
huh?
the contacts afterwards and everything. I mean,
You've just been able to meet so many people that, you never think of.
yeah. A year ago, if somebody would have told me that we'd be where we are, I'd have laughed at them.
A little nervous giving that sales pitch?
A little bit, yeah. We
Did you
had a
guys
lot
practice?
on it.
Yeah.
A little bit, but honestly, I was working out of town most of the time before that, so we just kind of on the way up there looked over our business pitch and everything, and kind of winged it, to be honest.
Yeah. Sometimes, not gonna lie, sometimes when you wing something, that is the best.
Right.
Because
It's honest.
It's honest, and it doesn't come across as robotic. You know, here you are, your first take at it. It is what it is. Take it or leave it. And obviously, you guys hit it out of the ballpark with that one, because if you guys went to Phoenix, great job.
Well, let me ask you, what were you guys up against? What were some of the other ones that made it to the finals that you guys beat?
I mean, one group, they were taking Asian carp skin cells and turning it into a burn remedy, which actually reduced the amount of time that burn victims would spend in the hospital by about 90%, I believe, and cutting the cost down to a couple thousand versus tens of thousands.
Yep.
Wow.
And then one group had artificial intelligence, where they were being able to implement that with large corporations such as Cummins and Ford and GE, and they were actually making it to where it was for hiring services. So this company could actually put in their resumes into the system, and it would go through and select the top 10 job applications, and that way resumes were unbiased.
Wow. I mean,
the competition that we went up against was remarkable.
okay, I'll give the Asian carp one a kudos, because man, love to get rid of those things, man.
Yeah.
So
Have a good use for them.
right.
Get rid of them and then use them for something.
That is awesome. That, you know what? It sounds like you were up against some
Tough competition.
stiff competition to come out and beat them, which was awesome. But I tell you what, we're coming up onto our first break. When we come back, let's talk more about your company and where we're going to go with that.
Okay.
All right, we're going to step outside, take our first break. We come back. We'll continue the conversation. We'll be right back after this. Okay,
All right,
see a
folks.
lot of people online. You got questions, throw them in. Hey, Adam Wynn, what's going on? Speaking of a fisherman.
Right? Mark Coleman says congratulations. That is totally awesome, guys.
Yeah, Mark, they're right down close to your neck of the woods down that way. Not too far from you, if I remember right. All right, let me save this one off here. That's cool.
That's cool, man. That's actually, I'm kind of glad you guys won, because it's not that high tech. It's not that you guys are genuine. You know, hey, you guys get your hands dirty with the molds and stuff. That's kind of cool. That's awesome. We'll show that video here in a little bit of the molds you guys got.
Yep.
Alrighty, here we go. Stand by. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back. Second segment of the show. You know, Danny, when they told us the competition they'd beat out, I mean, we were showing you guys when you were talking about it, and literally, Danny and my jaws, both our jaws hit the floor. We're just like, oh my gosh, man! I mean, that's some serious competition.
You know what? And for the people listening or watching on Facebook, tell them where they can go find Southern Indiana Bait Company. Well, Facebook.
Yeah. So we've got a Facebook page, Southern Indiana Bait Co. And then same thing with our Instagram, Southern Indiana Bait Co. You can go on there, place orders or anything, just send us a message. You can see a lot of our products on our pages there, and we're actually working on getting a website up and running. So that should be up hopefully in the next month or so.
There you go, folks. So if you're watching Facebook or listening to the podcast or watching on YouTube, get over to Facebook, Southern Indiana Bait Company. Check them out. Give them a like. Share it.
Got a question here. Mark Coleman from Indiana. He wants to know: is there any grants or government funding available to help you guys get a little more established?
Yeah. So we're actually working with the Small Business Development Center and the Innovate Within Startup Foundation to help us get some more grants and stuff to look at, and then just be able to further grow. So yeah, we're actually looking into that right now.
Okay, so with that being said, and where you're at right now, what are your goals? I mean, do you have like a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan of where you look to see the bait company going?
Yeah, so like our main mission, I guess, is to get more youth involved So we sponsor a lot of the like high school tournaments around here and stuff. And we're going to start. We're talking with a couple of local high schools and colleges and stuff to try to get where we're sponsoring the next generation. And if we can just grow, I mean, we would like to make this a full-time business for us. So to get to that point would be our dream, I guess. Just get to the point where we can, further expand our own fishing knowledge and the entire community.
Okay, well, you brought up your fishing knowledge. Xavier, who's better fisherman, you or your brother?
To be honest, probably Zion.
Really? Okay. I thought, man, I was going to throw you one.
You had your chance, man. If you had one bigger fish than him, you should have thrown it out. Said, but I caught the bigger fish. So with your baits that you have, I'm showing the video right now of the molds that you got that came in. Who's between the two of you comes up with the ideas to what's next on the agenda for the next lure?
We kind of agree on it. And,
Yeah, a little bit of both.
Really, we look at what our customers want. If there's a certain style that we keep getting asked about, or we're actually working on some custom molds right now so that we can get our own custom lineup going. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys work together. You guys are always working together, and that's awesome. That's one thing is it's a family business, obviously, and as things get further down the road, that's one thing you guys are going to have to learn. Because I was in a family business, and we kind of got to know what our little piece of the business was. So that's awesome. You guys are working together. So with that being said, with the baits you have now, what's your top bait that people are asking for?
We sell a lot of our crawls and our twin tail spinnerbait trailers.
You got any of them right there in front of you? You can hold up?
Yep, so here, I don't know if you can see it well on the camera, there's our twin tail spinnerbait trailers. It's just I'll get one out of the package.
Yeah, take them out of the package, it's better.
So, these have the little twin tail kickers on them, give a lot of action on any type of buzz bait, spinner bait, swim jig, anything like that. That's a go-to trailer. We work with several jig manufacturers and spinnerbait manufacturers that actually put this bait on theirs to sell with it. And then
this is our crawl.
Okay.
The claws on it actually have a lot of action, enough to probably put on spinnerbait stuff also. I personally do that with our crawls. I prefer the bigger profile bait myself.
it's the claws on our crawl has that it has a lot of water displacement, so whenever you're talking about needing that extra water movement to get that fish's attention, our crawls is my go-to bait for a Texas rig all day long.
Yep.
So you guys, that just didn't happen right away, right? You guys had to work through getting the size of those claws to what you wanted.
Yeah, so that we tried out a couple different crawl molds and narrowed it down to that one as our number one because it was so universal. And anything that you could think as far as like a jig trailer or a buzz bait trailer or anything like that, or even just Texas rigging it kind of fulfilled all the needs in one crawl style. So
and then from there you got some stick baits as well, right?
Yep. Yeah. So
so as you're getting the next one out, what's like a favorite color?
Depends on what I'm throwing and time of year. So in our crawl, it would probably be Okeechobee crawl, which is the dark blue over a watermelon laminate, or just a straight green pumpkin. Here's our stick worm. That's in our rainbow trout pattern. It's really popular. So a lot of them in this pattern. And then I primarily fish a 6-inch finesse worm, an 8-inch magnum finesse worm, or a 10-inch curly tail worm. That's what I've had my success on the past 2 years. Actually just won the high school division tournament on our 8-inch finesse worms week and a half ago. And that we've got a secret color in that we've been winning tournaments on, so we're going to keep that one a secret.
That's nice.
And he's not going to tell what it is.
And it's on late, not going to tell you either.
Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome. You know, one of the questions that people, you know, not going to lie, you walk into your bigger stores, box stores, and there is just, what separates you guys, your baits, from the competition? Is it your quality, the price? Do you give a little free shipping? What's all involved?
So what really sets us apart is our durability. You know, we've worked with 3 different plastisol manufacturers to find the right blends that we like for each specific bait, as far as the how much action it'll have and the durability before it'll break on you and everything. That's like our frogs. Our frogs, we actually use a floating blend of plastic, so you could actually fish them just on a weightless hook. So it's the durability that we have and the quality. We hand inspect every bait that goes in the bag. You know, with our baits, you don't get the flashing, you don't get the bubbles in them, and
No dents or anything like that.
Yep. And then the customizability that we offer too. We do a lot of custom orders for jig manufacturers and stuff. If they've got a jig pattern, they can send it to us, and we can pretty much match it to a T. So yeah.
How many baits do you sell on average, like say in a week or a month? I mean, are you guys constantly working and cranking these out?
Yeah. I mean, it varies. Sometimes we could sell, you know, $100 a week. Some weeks we can sell $700, $800 worth. So really, it varies on the season too. And like we're kind of ending our spring and summer season. We're still getting some orders here for guys stocking up here in the fall, but right now we're kind of running a bunch of inventory for our winter and spring shows that are coming up. We've actually got a show down in Knoxville, Tennessee at the East Tennessee Fishing Expo, and it's the biggest one on this side of the Mississippi. So we're going to try to take 6,000 packs of inventory to that show and hopefully sell out.
Wow, that's cool.
That would be awesome. You guys selling out, I'm sure that would be fan-freaking-tastic. I mean, it's like you guys, you know, and like you said, it's a big show. It's in Tennessee, so as far as this COVID thing's going, I think everything's open, so that'll be good for you guys to, you know.
Well, when you're making different lures and you're making different colors and everything, do you see differences? I mean, I'm not that big of a fisherman, so I mean, you're probably gonna go yeah or no. I mean, you should know that, but I don't. Is it different region by region? You know, like up here in the north. I mean, do you see more of like one certain kind or certain color go to the north versus the south?
Yeah, because like down in Florida, a big color we sell a lot of is June bug.
Okay.
You know, a lot of our Florida guys want June bug. Around here by us, it seems like it's more
Green pumpkin,
more of your
red,
naturals,
and stuff like that.
your really dark colors for night fishing or fishing muddy water. And then like up by you guys, we've got some guys that are more like the smallmouth and walleye, and usually that's going to be like our swim baits or our neds or finesse worms. And in our swim baits, a lot of the guys up by you like those brighter colors, that chartreuse and those bright purples and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we know what to get
Right, exactly.
when we go walleye fishing.
Exactly. And I think Josh was using a purple pedal tail. I think dark purple.
On Miliax when he won?
Yeah, I think so. Don't quote me on that, but so definitely.
Was that the one where him and Joe? They caught like when Joe set the record that day.
They're going at it.
Okay.
That was
over 100
fun.
pounds of fish.
Yeah, that was fun watching those guys catch walleye like that. Okay, so we've talked mainly baits that you said bass and walleye. Do you make anything for the smaller fish, panfish, crappie, bluegill, something, anything like that?
So funny you guys mentioned that. We just got some molds in to add to our crappie and panfish lineup that we haven't released yet. So be looking for that here in the future.
Really, our twin tails can do bluegill and crappie and stuff because I fish them like that personally.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? Okay, so Xavier, what's your favorite fish to catch? Is it a bass? Bass?
Yep.
Same thing with you, Zion?
Bass, or if I can get on a good crappie bite.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Why the bass so much? Is it just because they fight so much and you got them on there and it's more like a game fish versus something you can throw on the dinner table?
I don't know. I like.
Really, for me, it's something that you can show off.
For me, the bass fishing is more of it's a strategy. So, I mean, crappie, usually in the springtime, you fish structure and you're catching them.
Okay.
But bass, I enjoy trying to run over the whole lake and figure out a pattern and put something together. Yeah, I feel like the bass you have to work more for.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not just like, hey, you just fish off the end of the dock and you're pulling in panfish, or you get in a crappie hole and all of a sudden you pull out 10 or 15, you got a good mess for dinner.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay.
No, it's that's what it is, and like up here we've got guys that they go for bass, we got them that go for walleye, but while you're doing that, you're going to run into pike and stuff like that. So they each got their own little thing that they want to go fight, and some have a preference. Walleye. I went out a couple weeks ago after some walleye. That was fun, but a good bass bite is that's always good fun too, and a lot. Yeah. These small ponds provide great fishing.
Yeah, they do.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
You don't have to go find a big thing of water. You get a small pond, it can be several hours of fun there.
Well, them smallies that we fished for about 4 years ago up on not as Long Lake up near Alpena.
Yeah.
What were we using?
Fletcher's Pond Water.
And Fletcher's Pond Waters both. Yeah. What were we using?
We were using the Yamamotos. We were using the
Wacky rig.
Wacky rig with the Yamamotos, the 5-inch Yamamotos in pumpkin, and I think perch at the time. We were using those, and that was some fun fishing because you could see all the way to the bottom, and literally when you were over them, you could see them coming after them. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, we were using the Yamamoto Syncos.
Okay.
Yeah, and you mentioned the perch pattern. We came up with a perch pattern here, actually for guys that fish on Lake Brookville, which is one of our smallmouth lakes down here, and that seems to be a good color there too.
Yeah.
And it also depends on what time of year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You get those little you get the hatch there in July and that, and the pattern will change as the season goes through. So, you know what? We're coming up onto our second break. Why don't we step out? We'll come back and we'll talk more about your company.
All right. We're going to step outside. We'll be right back after this. All right. I tell you what, you guys know more about lures and baits and that stuff than I ever dreamed about knowing. I mean, that blows my mind.
Right?
It's been a lot of trial and error the past few years.
Okay, let me say this off. Hang on to that thought, because I just thought of something I want to ask you.
Okay.
Along that line. And that's what we'll come back with. Alrighty.
And we got another question. All right. Mark Coleman's rocking in Indiana. It's that Hoosier thing.
It must be. All right, here we go.
Who's your neighbor?
Here we go.
Crack myself up.
2, 1. I don't know about you, Danny. I really don't. Welcome back. Third segment of the show. We were talking in the break, and we were talking with you, and you mentioned trial and error. So, when do you? We use the term cut bait, but when do you cut bait with a lure, with something you're working on? You're like, it's just not working. I mean, do you give it so long of a time? Where does that line get drawn?
For me, depends on where I'm at. Like if I'm fishing somewhere down here like Patoka or Monroe, which usually that's somewhere that you kind of got to know the lake and hope that you're fishing the right thing, because you're usually not going to get very many bites that day.
Yeah.
Okay.
It really depends on where I'm at, time of year, what the water, color is, what the temperature is. I usually start off in the spring throwing a crawl most of the time, and usually if I can't get bit on a crawl or a finesse worm, then the fish aren't going to bite.
Okay.
So, and usually I stick with my natural colors for that time of year. Biggest thing I think is try to stay natural, because if you're fishing the natural stuff, you're usually going to get bites anyway. Unless you can figure out some other pattern that's, if you can find that one color that they're just hitting better that day or that week or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Biggest thing is, I think, is just do your homework and know how the lake usually fishes and what it takes to win a tournament and what guys are usually using there.
Okay.
So you guys fish the same tournaments, right?
Yep.
So now you guys are brothers. So obviously, do you guys discuss like after the day of practice or anything like that what's going on, or is it like we'll talk after the tournament?
Well, I'll tell you what. This past tournament that me and my partner won, it was pretty nice catching a couple nice fish with them sitting there watching us.
Yeah.
So, usually if there's a pattern that we're running throughout the day, I'll text him if I'm catching them good and say, hey, we're using this bait on this color. Try it over there where you're at or whatever, because for us, we're fishing for points. So if we can both get in the top 5 for the year and go fish the state classic, then that's what matters to me.
Okay.
So,
All right. So you guys are actually working together in a way to get into the top 5. That's your main goal right now, is top 5 get you to the States.
Okay, Xavier, how many times have you outfished him in a tournament?
0.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Zion's been schooling you all this time, huh? Okay. Are you going to let him have it, though, when you finally beat him in one of these? Are you just going to rub it in really good? Or
Yeah, for sure.
I'm waiting on it.
You just tell him to bring it every week, huh?
Xavier, I'm going to tell you what. It is like I have an older brother, 9 years older than me, and I was just in your shoes. And when that happens, man, you let him have it.
Well, we saw that when Josh Blosser won. His brother stopped fishing the last 15 minutes and came all the way across the lake to watch him win the tournament.
Yep, he stopped fishing and came over
Watch
to support
baby
his
brother.
brother. Yeah, watch his baby brother win the tournament. So that's cool. And yeah, it's one of those feelings because it is a cool thing. Not gonna lie. One of the questions that did come in. Speaking of, can you recycle used baits?
Yes, you can. That's kind of where we got started, really.
Really? Do you think you might have like a buyback plan or a discount plan to ensure repeat business?
So is he talking about like used baits or?
It's all in the same question, so I'm thinking that it's using recycled used baits. Would you have a buyback plan or a discount plan to ensure that you have a repeat customer?
So usually we don't do that just because there's not enough there, like saying, a pack or two to melt back down. But like we've worked with guys that have like a full Walmart bag full of used plastics and ask if they can ship them to us, and then we can just melt all that down and run it and then ship back baits. And we usually do that and just base it by the hour on a price because we're not out any material per se on that usually. So.
But isn't that kind of hard to repeat if they're not all the same color, to repeat what the color they're after?
Yeah. So usually whenever we get a big bag like that,
Do the dark and light colors.
yeah, you can separate it into your dark and light colors, and usually you end up getting a brown. So usually it's some sort of brown color, or we can add black colorant to it where you have a really black bait, and it's just has every color glitter in it you can think of.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because once you come out with a color, and then you have another color, there's no way you could mix those colors, or else you're going to end up with black, right? Black
Pretty much,
with rainbow speckles.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's virgin material. It's a virgin color at that time. But when you start mixing, but hey, if they want to send it to you and do that, that's kind of awesome. That's kind of you never know what
Just
kind of color you might get out of it, right?
Right, and then we've got guys too that'll donate just old baits to us and everything, or we'll melt down all of our leftovers and extras and just whatever it comes into, and we'll make a couple gallons of plastic in that color, and we usually give that away for at tournaments and stuff for giveaways, and usually at the high school tournaments we'll give them away to kids that show up and stuff. So
That's a great promotional tool.
Absolutely is a great promotional tool. And speaking of great promotional tools, you guys gave away, as I'm scrolling here frantically trying to find the, it was for the Fishing for a Mission.
Yep.
You guys provided some packs there. So, you know, that's awesome. I got to admit, listening to you guys talk about wanting to give back and wanting the future of the sport to grow. And granted, you guys are only 15 and 17. You guys are at the beginning spectrum of that thinking.
At that age is incredible.
It is very incredible. So
I'm going to say hats off to your mom and dad for the way they raised you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
absolutely. There's just one thing that just, you know, you guys have talked so much about continuing on the sport and helping people continue on that sport. Shoot, it's hard to find out where some of these guys fish because they don't want to tell you because they're afraid you're going to go catch their fish.
Right.
Like here, you guys are working together. I know you guys are only in high school, but you're working together to both get to the state finals. You know?
Yeah.
You know, it's not like, hey, I'm not going to tell you, but it's really cool. It is refreshing to hear. Not going to lie. It's one of those things you sit there and you know how it goes. You've heard it. You've been at the big shows and everything.
Yep.
And some of these guys walk around like, you know, they don't stink. But guess what? They put their pants on one leg at a time, like we all do.
Right.
And you guys are on so level-headed right now that it's hats off to you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to see people of your age to be able to come away with that forethought of giving back and wanting to encourage more people to get into the sport.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things, you know, down there when you guys are fishing these tournaments and stuff like that, you know, just getting your name out with your company and passing it along and doing the promotional work that needs to be done. You guys are hitting the road running. You guys have already proven your business model because you won, and you guys are doing wonderful. That's awesome. So where do you guys see yourselves 5 to 10 years from now? Are you thinking you're going to stay into the plastics, or you kind of might want to go into other directions of the bait company?
Well, right now we're like the plastics is keeping us like overloaded busy. So
Yeah, I mean, we have everything to make jigs and crankbaits and stuff like that. We just don't have time for it.
yeah, we've got all the material to tie flies and do all that stuff, but we're going to continue with the soft plastics for now, just because that's what we're doing good with. But I mean, in the 5-year future, I could see us for sure getting into some of the hard baits and some of the jigs and stuff, or even partnering with a couple of other companies that already do that. Like I said earlier, we work with a lot of jig manufacturers, such as Bowtie Jigs and Mr. B Lure Company out in California, that actually use our baits as trailers that they sell with some of their baits. And really just in the 5 years, if we can, which I think we'll be able to turn it into a full-time business for us both. And if we could provide jobs and stuff here back home and be able to expand, and I mean, right now we're working out of our garage, so
Right?
we need to
You might
that up.
might need to get a office front or.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about that. Talking with these bigger companies, I don't know. Have you met them in person, or has it all been over Zoom or phone calls?
We've met several of them in person.
Okay, so what is their response when you guys show up?
Yeah.
And here you are, a 15 and a 17-year-old, looking across the table or shaking, whatever. What's their initial reaction to seeing you guys?
Usually, at first, we'll have a couple phone calls and they don't realize that we're high schoolers still.
Yeah.
So then whenever we go and meet them, they're kind of thinking it's going to be somebody else.
Yeah.
I literally,
their initial reactions are pretty shocked usually.
you know what? That's awesome. I'm
That
not
is
gonna
cool.
lie. You know, because you get into some of these meetings and it's shirts and ties or whatever it might be, and all of a sudden they look across and you got you two guys, you know, and all of a sudden they have to now switch gears to what they thought who they were going to meet. Now they've met you.
When you go to some of these meetings, do you take your parents with you? Do they sit in with you and help negotiate, or do they let you guys do it all?
Usually it's just us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Speaks volumes.
It speaks about, again, we're going to go back to your mom and dad, because letting you two guys go at your age is just awesome. They're not sitting right behind you, say this or say that. Nope. You make it or break it. You guys are going to do it. So, that's awesome. But I just had to ask that, because I know for sure if you were to say, hey, I want you to use my bait on your jig, and all of a sudden here I come across this table and here's two young guys. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Good deal. Good job. Mark Coleman says his favorite soft plastic supplier stopped making his favorite lure 20 years ago. He bought out the last few hundred. It's called a chicken foot. Have you ever heard of it?
Okay. No, I haven't.
Well, Mark Coleman, you're going to have to show us and post a picture of what a chicken foot is.
Show us your chicken foot.
Show us your chicken foot. It's for a smallmouth for creek fishing, and it's in chartreuse in color. So we'll try to get a picture of it so we all know what a chicken foot is from Mark Coleman.
There you go.
Pretty cool.
I'll tell you what, we're bumping up here on our last break. Let's go ahead and take our last break. We'll say the rest of the time we got to kind of wrap things up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ask a few more questions and have a little fun here towards the end. So we're going to step outside, we'll take our last break, and we'll be right back after this. All right, folks, you got questions, get them in now.
Last segment of the show. Mark, you better post that picture of a chicken foot.
I'm hungry now.
We all want to know what a chicken foot.
Yeah, I'm eager to see it.
Right?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Give me 1 second here, and I'll be ready to rock. Here we go. Stand by. 3, 2, and 1.
Last segment of the show, and
I want to give a quick shout out. Denny Steiner's back from Africa, and he's watching tonight. Denny, man, you slayed him again. That's all I can say, man.
You did, Denny. We're going to have you on the show. We've been watching all the pictures you've been posting and breakfasts.
Yeah, right.
We're going to have to get you on the show here in the next month or so with those pictures. Talk about it. How was your trip and how it all went? We'll definitely talk to you about that. Mike, if you switch to my screen, big shout out to 123 FM in the Upper Peninsula here of Michigan that carries our show.
What's the temperature in Newberry?
79 degrees and sunny.
79 and sunny.
And don't forget, folks, you go up there, you got to get a pizza at Cedars, and they carry Deer Camp coffee. So go check them out. Have a good pizza there. Julie at Buck Baits says it's a great pizza.
We got to get up there and try it out.
We do got to get up there and try it out. So get over there. Big shout out FM 123 in Newberry.
That carries our show. So thank you. All right. So where are we going with all this?
So
I forget what we're going to talk about now.
We're in the last segment of the show.
You said pizza.
I know, right?
Yep.
He will send a pic later. I only have the pearl color left. All right, we'll talk about that later with Mark Coleman. All right, guys. So we've talked about your company. We talked about how you got there, where you're going with it. You talked to him. You're also background. You're kind of looking at deer hunting. So let's talk a little bit of hunting. Let's leave your bait company. Let's talk a little bit of hunting. Now, what's your outlook for hunting? What's you guys' take on hunting for this coming season? Is it looking good?
My cameras are looking pretty good right now. I've got one buck. He's a main frame. On his right side, he's got 5 points, and then on his left side, he's got a brow tine, and it comes up, and he's got a big ball of 4 or 5 points. So I'm kind of eager to see what that looks like after velvet comes off.
Wow.
If he walks by, he's going to be a hard one to pass. I think he's a 4-year-old this year. And then I've got a 6-year-old mainframe 10, but he's got a bunch of kickers and split G2s. He's probably pushing that 155, 160 mark. So he's right now my number one hit lister. And then I've got a mainframe 10 that's either 4.5 or 5.5 this year. I'm going to have to see him in person to really get a good judgment call on him.
All right. You guys share stands or not?
Well,
I'm not really a big hunter.
You're not? Oh, okay.
No.
He's busy overfishing, trying to make sure he can catch bigger fish than you while you're out hunting.
Well, I've already done that part.
So you're not a big hunter. What other things do you like?
Really, I'm just big into fishing.
All right, so you're gonna stick into
That's about all I
fishing.
do.
Okay. Okay, let me ask you this then. If fishing's your game, are you bank fishing? Are you boat fishing? What's your preferred method?
I prefer to bank fish.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys got boats? You run boats?
We literally just got
we
a boat
just got one.
Saturday.
Okay. What'd you get?
So we just got a little 12-foot John boat with a live well and 2 trolling motors to start with. So
There you go.
but yeah, like at the tournaments and stuff, I go with. We actually have to have a captain for our high school division. So my captain happens to be my partner's cousin, and Xavier partnered. Him and his partner get to fish with some of the guys that fish for the Bass Pro Nitro team. So
Yep.
Okay. Right on. Gotta like that.
yeah.
Now, going back to hunting, you got your food plots in?
So right now I'm finishing up. I'm getting ready to broadcast and then call to pack. I've been waiting on the rain here the past, I don't know, about 3.5, 4 weeks, and we just now have got rain this week. So got everything ready to go on that, and then just got word today that I got drawn for a couple hunts at the Big Oaks National Wildlife Refuge this year. So I'm excited for that. Yeah.
Gun or rifle?
They're gun hunts. So.
Okay. Now, are you in the shotgun zone or are you rifle zone? I know Indiana's got some different rules.
Yeah, so on any public ground down here, it's just the pistol caliber rifles and the shotguns. But on private land, you can use high-powered rifles now.
Okay, that's the way it was when I was
But
down in Indiana a couple years ago.
Yeah, I stick with the 44 most of the time. Sometimes I get out my grandpa's 30-30 and I'll deer hunt with it some, but other than that, it's a 44 in my PSEs. So
There you go.
There you go. Question for you too. Number one, we'll go with Xavier. Who's your favorite fishing? Who's your favorite fishing celebrity, fisherman or woman?
That's a tough one. I'm probably gonna go with Kevin Van Dam.
And he's got his name plastered all over some baits.
You got that right.
Yep.
You know, so you know. All right, so Zion, yours?
Probably between Scott Martin and Brandon Polinick.
I tell you what, we interviewed Brandon last year. Great guy. I followed him on YouTube, watching his stuff. Great photography and everything. But yeah,
We had him.
yeah.
He was actually
Yeah.
pre-fishing
He was pre-fishing out in Lake St. Clair.
St. Clair for
Yeah.
the tournament. That was this spring, wasn't it?
That was last.
Or was that last year?
It was last summer.
Okay.
Because it was all messed up because of COVID.
COVID, that's right.
And
Yeah.
it was funny, not gonna lie, he had the camera tilted up at him, so he wasn't gonna give away where he was fishing on the lake.
Nobody could find any
That was
landmarks.
great. So, but yeah, great guy. So Mark,
And go ahead.
so Mark Coleman, you're giving away your age by saying Hank Parker. Not gonna lie.
You're right.
Yeah.
Even though Hank Parker's a nice guy, we met at ATA and said hi to him and stuff with PSE, and they're usually in the booth right around the corner. So, but it's all good. And another question. We're jumping back between fishing and hunting. What are you going to be planning? Clover, brassica, peas? What are you going to be
So
broadcasting?
This year, last year I did a mixture of turnips, sugar beets, radish, clover, and winter wheat. And this year I'm going to go with a radish, turnip, and clover mix. That way I've kind of got the greens, and then I've got the early season radish and the late season turnip.
Okay, sugar beets. That's interesting. I thought that was more of a northern thing.
They love them down here.
Probably because there's not a lot of exposure to them. I would imagine once they get a taste for it, they love them because they.
Yep. Usually it'll take them 2 or 3 years to get used to it, but once they find them and know what they are, better get ready.
Yeah. Do you notice that once the first frost hits, that those sugars activate and it becomes sweeter?
Yep.
You know, you get more action on them then.
Yep, usually that's why I put in the radishes, because they love them, usually right as our bow opener. And then as soon as we get a good heavy frost or late season, those turnips and sugar beets usually work really well.
There you go. Oh, Mark Coleman actually give us his age.
I know, 51.
Yeah, he's right in there with us.
He's in our wheelhouse. Yep, absolutely. But, like you said, when you're planting stuff like that, and you got to catch that rain, because if you don't catch that rain, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a good dry, or a hard dry summer here as well.
Right. So, but
Yeah.
When you're going down that road of do you plant any rye, wheats, anything like that?
I'll do a winter wheat usually. I'll throw that in some falls, and then I like to put it in with a clover mix in the spring too.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Hey, do you know what the pH of your ground is by chance?
This year it's right at 6.8. So.
Mark Coleman, he's got you beat by 0.3.
See, he's doing his homework, man.
He's right.
He does his homework. Now, last time you and I talked, when you were up at our camp, you were working on a timbering project. You were doing some timbering on your hunting property. How did that turn out for you?
Really, really well. I favored the oaks in that harvest, and I cut the bottomlands fairly hard on the poplar and soft maple and the sycamore. That I've got a lot of good regeneration from that for bedding and for browse. And then up kind of on the upland areas, like I said, I cut it to favor the white oak mostly. I've got a lot of good white oak regeneration. The amount of bedding I increased is exceptional, and the hunting over the past 2 years has just blown up. Yeah,
That's awesome.
So yeah.
You see a lot of stump sprouting on those soft maples. They come back.
Yep, soft maples and poplar. There's all kinds of stump sprouts, and they're just mowing them down.
Yeah,
they're mowing them down, and it gets thick.
Yep.
That is awesome.
Yep.
I know up on our property, during July, it was in those thickets.
Was it? How many years has it been since you've cut yours?
This will be third year.
Third year. So.
And it's
mine would be. What, 3 summers ago? Yep. Yeah, 3 summers ago.
Yeah, and I tell you what, you see a deer on the road, and they take 2 leaps into that thick stuff, and they're out of sight and out of mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm just going to continue doing some timber stand improvement across the property, and then actually took all the income from that sale, and we put in a 1.5 acre pond, and then did that, and we've been stocking it, and then doing some more habitat improvements with that income. So
that 1.5 acre pond is on your hunting property?
Yep.
So you're using that like a water hole?
Yeah, I built it more as somewhere to go. It's kind of up towards the front of the property, so we swim and fish in it. And then, but since I put that in, I've seen a lot of deer activity coming to it.
Okay, because that seems to be one of the latest things
water holes.
Is water holes, and I was just wondering, like some guys go take a 100-gallon Tractor Supply water, and they'll go plant it out in the woods and fill it up and make sure that. But you're seeing it with the plot you did, the size you did, being as big as it is, bringing the deer forward. You think that's going to change a little bit of your deer movement on your property? Yeah.
So the way I set up the habitat is the woods is kind of like a horseshoe. And then I've got in the front section, we've got 12 acres of tillable, which is now about 2 of it's taken up by the pond and the dam. And then I leave that in grasses, and then I'll mow it by every other year, I guess. And then then I've got 2 acres that's kind of a finger off the main field that goes right through the middle of the property, and that's where I've got my food plot. And then I did all the habitat improvements and all the timber stand improvements in that horseshoe timber. So
what a plan!
Not only do they have their own bait company, and they developed this from ground up, the guys know how to set up deer property too.
Right? Well, they're learning.
Yeah, actually, that's what I've worked an internship all summer doing habitat improvement and stuff, and with a private forester, and my plan is actually go to Purdue to get my bachelor's degree in forestry and wildlife management. So
There you go.
Isn't that a David Boggs school?
It's a David Boggs school. You've been listening to David too much.
yeah,
Hey, but David knows his stuff too, you know. So yeah, that's that. Man, you're on the right track. You know, speaking of the future stuff, you know, Xavier, what are your goals and aspirations for when you're done with school, high school?
I plan on going to college for business.
Business. So you're going to run the company and you're going to make Zion work for you, right?
I don't know.
So that's the plan, right?
Actually, I'm not gonna lie. That I in our family company, I was the bookkeeper. My brother was the worker. So I get it. And you each learn, like I said, you each learn your spot. But have you guys ever ice fished?
the closest I've come to ice fishing is when I was up there with Mike, and I fished there in the trout pond.
Oh, you did fish there?
Yep.
Okay, I didn't know if you guys ever got out, but wasn't even frozen then. I don't believe, was it?
No, there's still open pockets.
Yeah, that pond very rarely freezes completely over, and if it does, you still don't get on it. I tell you what, we're putting together a little trip for February.
Hopefully February.
Stay in touch. If you guys want to make a trip up to Wisconsin, we might be able to drag you along with us. Put you on some ice.
Awesome.
Thick ice. Thick ice. Trust me, Mike and I, we're not that first ice, best ice thing. No.
It's got to be thick.
Yeah. Mike's my tester. I send him first.
He sends the big guy out, And if I don't fall through, it's safe for him. See how he treats me?
Right.
So, but no, seriously, we'll see if we can't get you tag along with us for a weekend up there. That or come up here if you guys want to come up this way. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We'll build a fire for you right on the ice.
Awesome.
Right?
That right there, when you do that, you got good thick ice and you build a fire on it, people, they lose their minds. They're like, what are you doing? But yeah, it stays right on top. It's pretty cool. Then we drive cars on them too.
Hey, or land planes, so it's one of those things.
Man, we've chewed up an hour here.
I know, right? Tell us where we can find more about Southern Indiana Bait Company, or SIB Co.
Yep, you can just go check us out on our Facebook page and our Instagram page, and you go there and follow that, and be looking for a website here in the next month or so. Yep.
Okay, so they can go there. They can go right there and place an order to your company right there.
Send me a message, and just send a message to the company page, and I'll get right back with you.
Okay. Do you have prices on your page or no?
They may not be posted, but all of ours are $5.50 a pack, and then they range in the number per pack depending on the style of bait.
Okay.
And if they send me a message, then I'll send them a message back to our complete price list.
Okay. Wow. I tell you what, I'm still just blown away. Number one, at the professionalism of you two. It's just like talking to two businessmen. I mean, it's still hard for me to grasp that you guys are in high school.
Right. That's why I asked about the initial reaction to some of these businessmen when they meet these young business entrepreneurs that are still under 18.
Right.
Yeah.
Mark Coleman works 5 minutes from Purdue. Look at that.
Really?
So there, when you get up here, he said, look him up. And then he'll help you. He'll take you and hit some of the creeks for smallies up there.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
So you graduate next year, right?
I'm a senior this year, so I'll be graduating this year.
So you'll be graduating in
2022.
2022. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And then when they're at these big shows with all their baits and everything, and they hit it big, we say we knew them when.
Exactly. We knew those two guys win.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, hang on if you would. We're going to wrap up the show here, so just hang on after we're done, and we'll talk with you a little more. But for those of you on the podcast, go over to their page, give them a like, follow, share on their social media sites. Do the same for us as well. Share the show. And if you're listening to the podcast, go through iTunes, go over, give us a review over there. That helps us, and it also helps our supporters as well. And for those of you on the live stream, same thing. Go over to their pages, give them a like, follow, and share, and share the show with your friends, and go over and check out their website. If you guys are in the outdoors and you're into fishing, take a look at what they've got to offer here. These guys trying to do things the right way. And guys, once again, I got to say hats off to your mom and dad, because they raised you guys right, and they can definitely be proud of the two young guys sitting there tonight.
Absolutely. And don't forget, we're also on YouTube. Become a subscriber over there at YouTube. Help us out at that. And look for more from these two young gentlemen. I think this is the tip of the iceberg. Like they said, they want to give back.
Yeah.
I think they're going to be giving a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So next week,
Josh Blosser, we'll talk to him. He's a professional walleye fisherman. We've had him on the show before earlier this year. Or was it last year?
It was one or the other. I can't remember which of the Blosser brothers we had on.
We had them both.
Yeah.
But he won the tournament. Miliax, he won that tournament. We're going to talk to him. He should be a new dad, and we'll have him on next Wednesday night.
All right, that's going to do it for us this week, folks. Y'all tune in again next week, same time. We'll be back on again Wednesday at 7:30. Y'all take care.